Assalamualaikum. In this video, me and my team members will talk about Pdpa, Implementation in Communication Sector. The organization is Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation HDN-BHD, MDEC. Our team members is Muhammad Syazzwan Ariff, me, Nik Muhammad Hafiq, Muhammad Amir Faris, and Syafi bin Abdul Razak.
First is data collected. In MDEC principal statement, number 3.1 state that personal data collected may include but not limited to name as per identity card, preferred name, identity or passport number, age, contact number, residential address, email address, birth date, gender, race, nationality, occupation, designation, bank account details, information of spouse or children, such as name and birth date, information of your company such as name, registration number and address, information as to physical or mental health, political opinions, religious beliefs or other beliefs of a similar nature, the commission or alleged commission of an offence, and such other data necessary for the purposes which the personal data is collected. In Code of Practice in Communication Sector, number 2.3 state that the notice and choice principle specifically requires data users to provide data subjects with a notice stating that the source of personal data. Next is the purposes. MDEC principal statements state that in 3.2, the personal data provided by you to MDEC may be processed by MDEC for the following purposes. First is to administer the business or contractual relationship between MDEC and you and or your company. To communicate with you and or your company. Third is to administer customer relationship management procedures. Number 4 is to provide you with information about activities, products, services, events and programs that may be organized, managed, facilitated, provided, sponsored and or participate by MDEC. Next is to provide you with information about the products, services, events and programs offered by selected third parties that may interest you. Next is to facilitate payment in connection with the business or contractual dealings between MDEC and you and or your company. Next is to conduct research, study assessment, survey and or prepare reports, statistics for purposes of MDEC's business activities. Next is to respond to your inquiry and to comply with any legal or regulatory requirements applicable to MDEC and to make disclosure under the requirements of any law, regulation, direction, court order, bylaw, guideline, circular or code applicable to MDEC. Next is for recruitment of employees, for MDEC's internal records keeping and or last is other lawful businesses activities of MDEC. In Code of Practice in Communication Sector, the purposes is in 2.3 state that the notice and choice principle specifically requires data users to provide data subjects with a notice stating that personal data of the data subject is being processed by the data user and providing the data subject with a description of the personal data being processed by the data user. And the second one is the purposes for which the personal data is being collected and processed.
Next is disclosure. MDEC Principal Statement 3.3 stated that the personal data provided by you to MDEC, if required, be disclosed to the following classes of third parties. MDEC subsidiaries within or outside Malaysia. MDEC subcontractor or third-party service or product provided as may be determined by MDEC to be necessary or appropriate. Financial institution for purposes of facilitating payments or maintaining financial records in connection with the business or contract relationship between MDEC and you and your company. Government agencies and selected parties within or outside Malaysia, including strategic partners that work with MDEC in connection with MDEC's businesses, activities or any event or program. Agent, contractor, auditor, consultants, accountants, insurance, lawyer or other financial or professional advisor of MDEC, regulatory bodies, government bodies or other authorities if required or authorized to do so to discharge any regulatory function under any law or in relation to any order or judgment of a court. Any person to whom MDEC is compelled or required to do so under the law and or our shareholder. Next is the Code of Practice in Communication Sector. 2.3 stated that the class of third parties in the personal data is disclosed or may be disclosed to. 3.3 the disclosure is for the purpose declared at the point of the collection of the personal data as stated in the data users privacy notice. Or 3.3 the disclosure is for a purpose directly related to the purpose declared in the privacy notice at the point of the collection of the personal data. A purpose closely associated to a primary purpose, or this disclosure is being made to a third party mentioned in the privacy notice or to a class category of the third parties as identified in the privacy notice. The data user notes that the regulation requires data user to maintain a listing the disclosure made to the various classes categories of the third parties other than the classes categories of the third parties detailed in their respective privacy notice.
So for consequences, MDEC principle statement state that in 3.5, please note that your personal data is necessary for MDEC to carry out the aforesaid purpose. The failure to supply such personal data will or may result in MDEC being unable to administer the business or contractual relationship between MDEC and you or your company, result in the MDEC being unable to provide you with information about the activities, products, service, event, and program organized, manage, facilitate, provide, sponsor, and so on. And the last one is result in the MDEC being unable to provide you with information about the product, service, event, and program offered by the selected third parties which may interest you. So for the code of practice that in the communication sector that is followed is in 2.3 that state that the notice and the choice principles specifically require the data user to provide data subject with a notice stating the consequences of the failing to provide obligatory personal data such as personal data required by the data user to make the service available to the data user. For access, MDEC principle statement state in 3.6, you have a right to request for access to and for collection of your personal data. You may also choose to limit the processing of your personal data. If you would like to make any of such requests, kindly submit your request in the MDEC. So the code of practice in the communication sector that being followed is in a 2.3 bracket 4. State that the data subject right to access and correct the personal data and the contact detail to which a data subject may send the data access and or correction request. And in 2.3.6, the choice and mean available to the data subject to limit the processing of his or her personal data. And also in the 7.1, the Act provides data subject with the right 1. To request access to her or his personal data held by data user, and or to correct his or her personal data where the personal data is inaccurate, incomplete, misleading, or not get up to date.
Now I will proceed to the communication part. In MDEC principle statement of 3.7, if you have any inquiries or complaints in respect of the personal data, kindly communicate to MDEC in writing at the postal or email address specified in paragraph. This statement implements the Code of Practice in Communication Sector of 2.8, which state that data user may communicate the privacy notice to data subjects by one or more of the following methods: by sending a message to data subject with a website address or link to the privacy notice and or a telephone number in order to request for the privacy notice and or further information, or by issuing an email to data subject with a website address or link to the data user privacy notice and or telephone number to contact for further information. This is example of MDEC Pdpa form. This form is regarding of acceptance of password for e-touch users. By sign and fill this form, user legally authorize the company to receive the password and hereby agree on behalf of the company to keep the password confidential at all times and to be used only for the permitted purpose by MDEC. In this form also, it also illustrates of the important information for user to better understanding when completing the forms. That's all from us. Thank you.